today's topic is going to be about creating beautiful portraits using just one light. And I'm going to talk to you about when I would do that and how I would do that and why. And there's times I don't. So knowing when to use these tools and not just using them randomly just because you can, but using them when it's the proper thing to do. But let me start by saying the equipment I'm going to be using today for our one light portraits are the Godox 8600 Pro 2, an amazing light. I love I just love the qualities of the light. And one of the things too that I love about the light, besides just how well it works, but is also the tube, the bare bulb. That's something I look for in a light, is that it has a bare bulb so that when I put it in a modifier, it fills up that modifier with light. I don't want to use a large modifier and then just use the center of it. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to choose the modifier I like, and then I want the light to fill it up. So lights that are flat across the front aren't the ones I would choose for this kind of portrait. So I love that kind of that bare bulb effect. I'm going to be using a Godox softbox. It's their 59-inch softbox. So it's right at 60 inches, amazing softbox. I want a large light source for these type of portraits because I want to be able to manage my light my subjects, but get some spill over on the background, be able to feather the light a little bit or angle it to where I get beautiful light across my subject. And so a larger softbox is important. To me, larger softboxes are easier to manage because when they come in close, they're very, very large light source, but I can make them smaller simply by kicking the power up and pulling them back, which I rarely am going to do for a one light portrait, but I can do that. And you might say, well, what's that? How does that work? Well, think about an umbrella, like a golf umbrella. If you held it over your head in the rain, it covers your whole body and keeps it dry. But if somebody on the second floor was holding that umbrella out over you, it wouldn't matter at all. It's the same size umbrella, but the distance changes its attributes and its qualities. So having a large softbox to me is important. So we're going to be using 59-inch Godox circular or octabox type of shape. I'll be using the Godox X3C to trigger my light. Amazing trigger because I can control my light very easily from the trigger. The C stands for Canon. I'll be using a Canon camera, and it's a great trigger. Lots of controls, lots of ability with that. Then the camera I'll be using today is my R5 Canon, and I'll be using a 70-200 f2.8 lens, which is generally a go-to portrait lens in my studio for me. Not always, but in this case it is. I love that. It's a fast lens, it's a zoom lens, great quality all the way through. And then I'll be using one or two reflectors. And so one reflector is what we call a fill reflector. And when you hear the word fill, F-I-L-L, that simply, for me, means invisible. In other words, it's a management tool. So when I use a reflector, a fill reflector, I'm using it just to fill in the shadows because our eyes are better at seeing those details than our captures, and then when we go to print, those prints. We want to make sure that we're managing some shadow in some detail in the shadow, I'm sorry. So a fill reflector, so when you hear fill, it's supposed to be invisible, meaning it's not really being evident in the image, but it is managing the shadows. And then for I think one of our images, I use what I call a kicker reflector. That kicker reflector is a smooth, silver, highly reflective reflector on the shadow side, opposite of the key light, and it's used behind the subject, angled back toward the subject a little bit. And it is primarily putting a little bit of that main light or that key light back in on the shadow side, giving me a little edge of light. Could be along the arm. If it's somebody that's, I'm seeing their skin, they have short hair, then it might be along the face, but it's just providing a little bit of roundness from that. So that's what we're going to be using today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about lighting and why we're going to use one light as we move forward. So I'm going to start with a classic portrait. When we do color work for our clientele, most of our color work is classic. I just love it. It's very different from what the masses are doing. It's a sweet spot for us, but there needs to be no excuses when you create a beautiful classic portrait. So we've got mom and daughter, in which I love doing, mother and daughter, in beautiful clothing for this particular portrait. I'm using a background I don't even think is available anymore from ages ago, so sorry, but it's called Classic Garden. And it's just got, you'll notice it has enough that tonality in the background, right? It has some design elements. And so I'm working about, 3 foot from the background that way. And with the larger main light or key light of this Godox 59-inch softbox, that light's large enough that I'm able to both get beautiful lighting on my subjects, both subjects, and then I'm going to get a little spill on that background. I can feather my light in or out, toward or away from the background based on the level of light I want, and also the distance my subject is from that background. So you'll also notice on this very first portrait, the kicker light is providing just a gentle, soft light right along the daughter's arm. Now, her hair's black and thick, and so we're not really noticing it there. However, if we had somebody, let's say, with short hair, no hair, whatever it might be, really tight cut, or hair pulled back in like a ponytail or a bun, you might actually, and I love it, you'll see it just a little kiss of light on that shadow side. And that's what that silver reflector does. You don't have to have that reflector. You can do this with one light and one reflector, but fill reflector. But a kicker reflector, and that's what I'm calling it, is designed to kick that light back and provide a little bit of edge light right along my subject. The quality of this light, you'll notice, is absolutely beautiful. As that light gets really close, it kind of creates a natural wrap around my subject. I mean, it's such a large softbox that the closer I get it, and that's generally what I want to work very close to my subjects so that my light is a very large light source. And if you think about this as you think, you might think, well, how's the size change? But if you ask a 5-year-old how big the sun is, they'd say, oh, it's that big, right? Because it's so far away. What are the characteristics of that, right? It's very hard-edged, harsh shadows, and on a sunny day. So this light, as it gets closer, kind of provides angle changes. No, light doesn't really wrap, but angle changes so that it helps me fill in my shadows. The fill reflector does that as well, just to help manage that. And I'm just working that as close as I can. Then the kicker is giving me that little edge along the daughter's arm. The background's providing the tone that I would normally get if I pulled them away by having the lighter background. And then the tones in that background are more of a mid-tone. So the black hair is fine. We get separation with the black hair. If we had a black background, I might have to consider that. I love working here. This was totally an accident years ago. My wife painted 2 backdrops on our flat wall, faux painted. One was a more lighter background, a mid to high key. The other was a mid to dark key. It was a darker background, and that was just the seam you're seeing between them. And so I thought, well, I'll see what it looks like in there. And wow, I just love this look, how it creates like dimension to this. And then when I work against now we're against the wall with our subject, we're straight in. No low angle here because we're not shooting, with full body, we're shooting half length. And then the posing, see how it changes. It goes very, very quirky, very illustrative, very fashion forward type of posing. And you'll notice the composition on this particular image. Got a little extra space at the top. When I have a vertical line like this, anytime I have a portrait that has vertical lines like this, I'll use that line to extend the height of the portrait and create more drama in the composition. Because composition, I think, is something we don't talk about a lot, but design and composition add so much to the impact of a photograph. And so with this, her at that seam, then the posing just would not be right if it were classic. It needs to be just kind of in your face, straightforward. So Elena, our model here, was perfect. Solid black clothing, solid black hair, really light skin, that seam in the background, and then one light, one reflector, because she is basically against that background. So there's nowhere to put any other light. And this is what I said before, is like when you're working against a wall, then the whatever that background is, whatever that design is, that becomes the element. You're still lighting one light from your subject forward, just like I would if I were using 2 or 3 lights in a studio setup. Those other two or three lights would be somewhere behind my subject, lighting behind my subject, lighting the background, whatever. That's not going to be possible here. So this adds those elements needed. So I'm not just choosing one light because I don't want more lights. I'm choosing one light because it's the right thing to do for this particular portrait. This portrait is my wife's favorite from our session, and I love it because, again, with black and white, it's illustrative, it's unique, it's quirky. You can see how we've actually included this light and just used it as a design element. Strong diagonal over the large size of the light kind of makes her feel kind of small, and it just gives such a beautiful perspective to the photograph. You can see how the light kind of flares on that back wall from almost black around the edges into just a little tonality into the wall. I'm using the darker wall that we have in our studio, and so the faux gives it some texture. I can pull a little bit of that out, and I did in post, but you'll notice the lightest part is her skin, so that pops other than the light itself, obviously, which the light source. And I just think this is such a neat way to just create something different and powerful, and to tell an amazing story. Look at the pose, it's almost a non-pose. Feet together, body standing. I did cross the body with the light so we didn't wash it out, gave us a little bit of shadow there, a fill reflector on the side, and then that kind of pensive non-expression expression into the camera, and then of course somewhat of a low angle because we want to make sure that it feels very grand in this particular photograph. Images like this, for those that love contemporary photography, there are those that love to separate themselves from the masses by creating things that are truly art-worthy, wall-worthy, unique, need to think this way. And I love challenging myself. And when I go black and white with a portrait, my mind thinks differently. I don't think the same way. I immediately start thinking like a different person. A little Jekyll and Hyde going on maybe, right? So it's like black and white. It's going to be odd. It's going to be quirky. It's going to be funky. It's going to be different. And then when it's color, it's going to be classic and rich. It's going to be beautiful qualities that way. And that's really how we've built our brand, is by segregating our art forms, being the best that we can be at them, creating really unique things. I love the way this portrait turned out. I hope you enjoy it.